different way. If you look through a stencil, it actually resists with those little speckles. So instead of using like a Versamark or a gel medium or even a microglaze that creates that solid resist, this is creating that cool spray pattern. When you look here, like with the florals, it creates that, but also if you see how the light hits it, it has that shine, so it looks as if we stamped and embossed, right? We didn't have to, we simply sprayed it. Speaking of embossing though, what people I think were more impressed with is the fact that you can emboss with resist spray. So in our mixed media world, right, and embossing, people love emboss. I know, see already, look, I got goosebumps. Because in our mixed media world, embossing powders, people are loving embossing powders because it's adding a whole new texture, it's adding metallics. But with embossing powders, it's usually a stamp, right? It's usually an ink. But the ability that I can create a spray pattern with my embossing powders, everything from dots to concentrated, and every little speckle, because all you do is spray the resist spray, pour your embossing powder over it, and it is heat stable. It allows me to emboss, and that really creates some texture. That creates something, I mean, you've got to feel these. They're just crazy. And you can use it with any kind of embossing powder, whether it's metallic, clear, anything. Here's how it works, pretty simple. When you work with this though, you definitely want to work, I know, beautiful, huh? Yeah. So you could put your embossing glitters, you can put your embossing metallics, your clears over it, you can put it in an art journal, you can put it onto canvas, you can put it on a wood frame that you want to create that texture, because this will adhere to any surface you spray it on, which means that when you use it in a box, okay? You don't use it on a craft sheet, you don't use it on your table, because wherever it goes, there it is. You're scraping it off with a razor blade, okay? It's designed to stick, that's what I wanted. So all you do is place it in a box with paper, and you're just going to spray it. Now this one I'm just going to do a really fine mist. This one I'm going to give it a mist, but I'm also going to slowly squeeze the trigger, and you'll see it kind of squirts out and creates these drips. Okay? Now it goes on white, but it dries clear. And the only thing you need to do when you're done with it is wipe this off with a baby wipe. You don't need to unscrew this, you don't need to flush it out. As long as you wipe off the nozzle with a baby wipe, it's not going to clog again, which is cool. Now, drying time. Something like this, something with the mist, this is already dry. Okay, something with these big drips, probably going to take a minute or so to dry, or you can use a heat tool. It's completely heat stable. So we'll do a little embossing. We'll do this one. Thanks, Wendy. Wendy cleans everything between. She'll hold the heat tool and emboss. I love that. What would I do without you, Wendy? I love it.
It's good to have
All right.
people.
It's just nice. She's hanging out. Like, she comes here. All right, so here I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna spray through a stencil. So if I spray through a stencil, I'm just gonna wanna take my stencil and immediately put it in water. Okay, by doing that, that's gonna make sure that that resist spray does not dry on my stencil, right? It's water-based cleanup, so as long as it gets clean while it's wet, you're good to go. And here with my embossing powder, I know, but I wanna show you this even before I heat it. The way the embossing powder sticks to this is exactly how you sprayed it. So every little tiny drop of that resist spray is where that enamel sticks. And we'll heat that, we'll emboss it.
Do you have to heat it?
You do have to heat it, because if you rub it, it will fall off. But if you do glitter, because I have done glitter, as long as you have enough resist spray on the surface,
The glitter will stick.
yes, and you're able to pour glitter while it's wet, it actually encapsulates that glitter and it won't rub off.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. I've been playing around with this a lot of different ways. Like yesterday, this one that has like so much texture to it, we were saying, what if you just sprayed in one area? What if you just took that resist spray and you just kept spraying the same area? Would it eventually smooth out? The answer was no. Because every time I sprayed it, I mean, and there was a lot of resist on here, I thought, okay, well, when I cover it with embossing powder and heat it, we know that with embossing powder, the longer you heat it, it tends to smooth out. No, you can pretty much see every time I added a new layer of resist spray, it just kept building more and more texture. So I think this is going to be a really cool art medium for people to want to work with, because sky's the limit. It doesn't matter what they want to put embossing powder on now. They want to put it on a journal, they want to put it on a picture frame, they want to put it around a glass votive and actually emboss where it's going to look like frost or snow. And you could really do anything, because this stuff will stick to anything you put it on. So